was looking for the perfect first day in Amsterdam. A little ride through the canals.
Start with a beer, man.
Oh! A food and drink fair in Old Harlem.
Cheers.
I also booked a museum tour.
This is the entrance of the museum.
But I think they might have mixed up my reservation. Oh well, when in Rome. At least they let me walk in with a drink.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a swing.
Hey, your legs up in here?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Can you give me a push?
Normally they push from the other side.
All right, moving on. Growing up working in the bars of South Boston, I learned one thing. Sit down with a stranger and a couple of cocktails, and the whole world opens up. I'm Jack Maxwell. I'm in search of the world's most interesting drinks and the people who drink them. That's why they call me the Booze Traveler. The Dutch definitely have a reputation, and it isn't just for their beer. I probably don't need to spell it out, but let's just put it this way. They're very open-minded, which is great for college kids on spring break, but also the key ingredient in a Dutch entrepreneurial spirit that sets some of the world's biggest trends. They created the first stock exchange, the first multinational corporation, invented Wi-Fi, and were the first to legalize gay marriage. And without the Dutch, many of your favorite drinks wouldn't exist. No gin, so no martinis. No brandy, and the Dutch took the idea of putting hops into beer and made it a worldwide phenomenon. Without them, we'd still be drinking something like a syrupy brown wine. Not exactly a world I'd want to drink in. But the greatest ad for Dutch enterprise is probably its capital. The heart and soul of the Netherlands is right here, Amsterdam. If not for its 2,000 miles of dams and dikes, the city would be 6 feet underwater. But instead, it's one of the most livable places in the world. Amsterdam has more canals than Venice, and it's amazingly flat, which is perfect for cycling. They say the people here love to do two things, drink and ride bikes. They also say they pull 8,000 of them out of the canals every year. Drinking and riding bikes, I'm not surprised. BUI, or biking under the influence, is actually a big problem here. But the Dutch are nothing if not problem solvers. Behold, Dutch innovation. So this is the beer bike.
This is the beer bike.
Take a city that has more bikes than people. In a country that's the second largest beer exporter in the world, factor in Dutch style that created this and this, and you see why the beer bike almost had to be invented here. Who came up with this idea?
Two Dutch brothers invented it in a small village in Amersfoort.
With the guy driving, not drinking, of course.
Well, originally...
Originally he was, right?
Yeah.
Who are these guys? Not exactly the Wright brothers. Be glad you weren't here for the beta testing. Dean Saris is one of the owners of Limo Bike. He's not Dutch, but he's definitely on the bandwagon.
I had the idea to combine the beer with the bike and make it into a bike bar, if you like.
So, what's the occasion? Does everybody know each other?
Yeah, of course. It's my birthday, bro.
How old are you?
24.
24. How long you been drinking?
24 years.
Right out of the womb, huh?
Come from my mother's beer.
Okay, so nobody's gonna mistake this guy for a member of the Harvard Debate Society. But so long as his mom doesn't watch, he'll probably be okay. Cheers! The beer bike has gone from a quirky local phenomenon to worldwide trend. They've popped up in Germany, Hungary, England, and are even giving stretch limos a run for their money as far away as Kansas City. All right, let's pedal. We're slowing down.
Pedal, pedal. Come on, boys. Let's the pedal, gek.
I feel like I'm on one of those Viking ships where everybody's roaring. Oh! You don't get this kind of workout playing darts in a bar. but they can turn on the engine if we really start losing steam. The beer bike can also become a Prosecco bike, a champagne bike, or any bike you like. Whatever your poison, the great thing about cycling in Amsterdam, it can take you down some unexpected paths.
I love your outfits. They're really beautiful.
You're gonna see a lot of drag queens up here. Do you want to jump down and say hello?
Why not? Can we bring the beers? What do we have here?
It's Amsterdam's 18th annual Gay Pride celebration.
They should be proud. Did you see their abs?
Amsterdam's Pride Festival isn't the first of its kind, but it holds a special place. The Netherlands has been ahead of the curve on gay rights for centuries. Sodomy laws were wiped off the books in 1811, and they've had openly gay bars here since 1911.
Cheers, cheers.
The celebration here also boasts a one-of-a-kind event, the Drag Queen Olympics.
How tall are you exactly?
Without the shoes, how to say that? 6'3".
And with the shoes?
That's too tall.
Kitty here is fresh off of running the 100-meter stiletto sprint. I've met some glamorous ladies in my time, but she's probably the only one who could dunk over me.
Thanks.
The most watched event of the Games is about to start. A battle of power, grace, and style.
The handbag throw.
There may not be much to drink here except beer, but this I gotta see.
It's the highlight of the Olympics.
Yeah?
Yes. I have competed in previous years.
And did you win the event?
Yes.
You won!
Yeah.
Yeah, he won! He's the best purse thrower!
But only the handbag throw. I suck at the stiletto heel.
Mary Lou Retton once said something like, "We gotta make the most of the talents we've been given."
Okay, here's one coming. There it is.
These gals were obviously listening.
Oh, nice throw!
Being forward-thinking like the Dutch has its advantages. Consider what they started with. The Netherlands is basically a giant mudflat with very few natural resources. And yet it became, at one point, the richest country in the world. It's still ranked in the top 10.
500 years ago, the Dutch East India Company was the most powerful in the whole world. It was the first one to issue stock. It had about 1 million employees, and it was given the right to wage war and execute people. Yeah, sure, boss, I'll work overtime. Because of its dominance in the spice wars, a lot of ingredients ended up back here in Dutch drinks that might not otherwise be there. Well, let's go try one, shall we?
I'm in Vlaardingen, a quiet fishing town an hour from Amsterdam. It's the only place in the world where they make an old-school Dutch liqueur whose recipe reads like the inventory of the Dutch East India Company.
Normally I don't drink the sweetened stuff, but there's one exception.
Sietse Kookveek makes award-winning artisanal gin for a living, but this drink is his favorite.
What is it?
It's an old fisherman's drink. It's impossible to pronounce for you. It's called Schelvispekel.
Schelvispekel.
Almost right.
Schelvis?
Yeah, you'll never be able to pronounce it.
Oh, don't challenge me. I'll bet you a shot that I'll get it one day. Hold on. Schelvis?
Schelvispekel.
Pekel.
The pekel's the easy part.
Pekel's
Schelvis
easy.
is, yeah.
A beautiful language, Dutch.
Here, the only way to find out is to try it and see what it does to you.
The name of this 70-proof drink is hard to get out, but it goes down easy.
Tastes like Christmas.
It's nice, huh?
Very spicy.
Yep.
Almost like a hot toddy would taste if it were room temperature.
It works well.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Actually, in the wintertime, they put it in coffee, they put it in chocolate.
That's perfect.
300 years ago, local fishermen invented it when trying to improve upon their usual drink, brandy.
Always had some brandy just to stay warm. And in order to spice it up a bit, they would trade actually a lot of fish against spices that came from the Far East.
The recipe calls for 20 exotic spices from around the world. Things like cardamom from Ceylon and cloves from Indonesia. But the name is meant to mislead. Schelvispekel means fish pickle.
It's a horrible name.
Oh, what? Fish pickle. It's a fish pickle.
They were not allowed to drink. If the wives came on board, they would say, In that vessel over there, it's nothing special. It's the pickle we use for the fish.
Lying to the wise. It's nice to see that hasn't changed in years. Reminds me of the day my Aunt Carolyn found the flask under the front seat of my uncle's car. He got pretty good on a bike.
It's a horrible name.
Well, fish pickle. It's a fish pickle.
Fishermen made it on board, but they were not allowed to drink.
The only thing as timeless as men drinking? The alibis they tell their wives. Dutch fishermen dubbed this spice brandy fish pickle to throw their spouses off the scent.
Over here, everyone knows. Here, look around.
Oh, everybody's drinking it. Cheers. Salud. Salud. Schelvispekel.
Today, this gingerbread spirit is openly enjoyed by husbands, wives, and plenty of people who don't even fish. The name is part of the spirit's charm. Unless you're me.
Excuse me. He said I'd never be able to say the name, so I'm going to try to say it, and you tell me if I said it roughly right, okay? Schelvispekel. He said right. He said right. You say no? No, don't help me. What?
Schelvispekel.
Pickle. Okay, hold on. Let me give you one more shot. Ready? Schelvispekel.
Yes.
Hey, it's unanimous. Get out of here. Give me a drink. You owe me a bottle of this. I'm taking this home. This is great. So you're part of a club or something? A group?
Choir.
A choir?
Yeah.
Can I hear some?
My new drinking buddies are a singing club, or a shanty corps, and this is one of their rehearsal spots. Shanty corps are popular all across the Netherlands, like bowling leagues for us. Plenty of drinking songs in their repertoire, of course. Today they're breaking out an old classic about this drink.
De visitjes aan boord werden soms wel eens zat. Ja, ja. Van een glaasje of 5 van dat pekelnat. Schelvispekel, die Vlaardingse kruidendrank. Vloeibaar en goed, de fles gaat van hand tot hand. Om je solenstuk.
For a song about something called fish pickle, well, it's a little less edgy than I hoped for.
Van Schelvispekel, ja, Schelvispekel, elke visser is van de klant.
We gotta toast some Schelvispekel after that one. That was great. You guys are great.
I've been to weddings that were less sincere, or happy. Also in the running for the Netherlands' most sincere, a man who guards the secret recipe for Schelvispekel. He makes it just a couple blocks away.
Let's go in.
It's a bit like Dr. Frankenstein's garage. Tubes and spice sacks and jars all over the place, like they're mid-tinker. Dr. Frankenstein, in this case, is owner Leo Fontana.
Hey, Leo.
Hello.
Tom Cruise does his own stunts. The Obamas plant their own vegetables. And then there's Leo.
I don't see any workers. Where are all the employees?
Well, I do everything by myself. I have no employees.
Get out of here. You can't do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything.
All of the alcohol stuff, the
Yeah.
marketing, the accounting, sweep the floors, lock up at night.
I want to do it by myself.
Only 2 people in the world know the secret recipe for Schelvispekel. Leo is one of them. It's up to him alone to make the more than 5,000 gallons sold every year.
Het is mijn hobby to making alcoholic beverages. And when you make from your hobby your work, you never work.
What's back there? What's that?
This is my laboratory.
Ah, this is it.
Very small.
Laboratory. Shall we go, master?
In an old fishing village in South Holland, there's one man who still makes a centuries-old recipe invented by Dutch fishermen. His name is Leo Fontana.
Here you can already smell them. These are all the herbs and spices that go into the Schelvispekel.
Schelvispekel is a Dutch liquor that contains more than 20 different spices.
So you are a chemist. All of these
a little bit.
different ingredients?
Yeah.
What is this, star anise? A few hundred years ago, this would have been the most expensive drink on the planet. Because in the heyday of the Dutch East India Company, things like cloves, cardamom, pepper, and nutmeg only grew in faraway lands and could be more valuable than gold.
Allspice, yes.
That's the Christmas right there. So valuable, the Dutch traded Manhattan for access to nutmeg. Nutmeg. You probably throw some cinnamon in, don't you?
Yes.
Today, Schelvispekel is pretty rare.
I am the only distiller that makes Schelvispekel.
Dozens of Dutch towns have a local version of fishing liquor, but Schelvispekel is the only one with national distribution by royal decree. So the Dutch royal family commissions it right from you?
I know that Queen Beatrix drank it.
She drinks it. Wow.
She likes.
The Dutch royal family are tight-lipped about why Leo got their stamp of approval. But they obviously know a good investment when they see one. They've cashed in on everything from the spice trade to Shell Oil to become one of Europe's richest monarchies. But they haven't had a perfect run. Rumor has it they lost $100 million to Bernie Madoff. At what point in your life did you get interested in distilling?
In distilling, I was 5 or 6 years old.
5 or 6 years old.
Yeah. That is crazy, I know.
At 5 or 6 years old, you wanted to be a distiller. Most 5 or 6-year-olds, they want to be a cowboy or an astronaut or the president someday. Yeah. And you've been drinking it ever since. Yeah. How much of it do you drink?
A lot, and sometimes too much.
Schelvispekel got its name as a man's drink. But the Netherlands also has an old-school drink for the ladies. Some folks from the Shanty Corps are taking me over to try it. Because this is an equal opportunity show. Hey! Oh! Hey, how are you? Hi, I'm Jack. Oh, we do 3.
In here, 3, yeah?
In here we do 3. Outside we do 2. Hi, how are you? Jack. Oh! All right, I'm gonna sit right here then. All right. In the States, binge drinking tends to be a rite of passage. But in the Netherlands, it's the opposite. The over 55 set drinks twice as much as the college kids. The Dutch also tend to live longer than us. Now, I'm not saying booze is the fountain of youth, but I'm not saying it either. So, what are you drinking?
Advocaat. That's eggs and brandewijn.
Oh, pudding!
No, it's not.
No pudding.
Let me just believe it's pudding.
It's a kind of eggnog. You know eggnog?
I do know eggnog.
This is a kind of...
Oh, look at this. Ladies first.
Thank you.
Tell you all about it. Advocaat's almost completely unknown outside of the Netherlands, except for that scene in The Shining where a psycho waiter spills it on Jack Nicholson. All work and no play would make Jack a dull boy indeed. But in the Netherlands, I'd probably be okay. By law, you can't work more than 9 hours a day, and you get at least 20 paid vacation days a year. No wonder they live longer and are so very jolly. This avocado, how strong is it? The alcohol content?
40%.
Hoeveel alcoholpercentage is het?
It's about 40%. So let's try it. And then you tell me why we call it avocado. Oh.
It's strong.
It tastes a lot like it looks, a cross between eggnog and custard. The name avocado, where does it come from?
Avocado.
Doesn't look like an avocado to me. According to legend, avocado was invented at the height of the Dutch Empire, when sailors in colonial Suriname added rum to a local avocado smoothie. But back home, avocados didn't and still don't grow in the Netherlands, so the Dutch swapped the creamy fruit for egg yolks. Hold on a second. Hold on. Someone has not eaten their pudding.
I don't like it.
That's because you're too young.
Yes, I think
That's what it is.
I think that's the problem.
That's the problem. You want a shot of scotch? What is it? You want something real strong?
Yes.
Yes, a nice margarita for this one over here. No one's really sure how Advocaat went from a sailor's drink to a favorite among the Golden Girls, but it's probably a little like Bailey's is for us. If only older people, older women for that matter, are drinking this, do you think it's gonna fade away?
No. It's a tradition.
It's tradition, it's okay?
It's good.
Let's toast.
Yes.
Advocaat! You can drink it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. There's a song about Schelvispekel, but not about avocado?
Ja, advocaatje, leef je nog? Ja. Ik heb mijn eten opgegeten en mijn drinken laten staan. Advocaatje, leef je nog?
This might be that missing scene from Cocoon.
You got me. Wait a minute. I said make up a song and then everybody knew the words and you pull on my leg. How did you do that?
We learned it at school. When we were children.
Oh, the kids' song. Oh, here it comes, ukulele.
Dus een Dutch song. Gezellig. Cozy. Gezellig. Oh, wat is het hier gezellig.
You know how Eskimos have like 50 words for snow? Well, the Dutch have their own words for happy, like gezellig.
Let's hear it now.
It's almost impossible to translate, but means something like cozy, that warm feeling you get when you hang out with friends. The avocado doesn't hurt. Rome was built on 7 hills. The U.S., liberty and the pursuit of happiness. The Netherlands?
He's cutting open with his thumb.
Yeah, his thumb.
Yep. Herring.
No, you don't just eat it like that. Come on.
Raw herring.
The guy's a polar bear. He's cutting open with his thumb.
Huh? Yeah, his thumb.
No, you don't just eat it like that. Come on. The guy's a polar bear.
Nanook of the Netherlands over here is my buddy and herring aficionado, William Den Heyer. He hooked me up with Joop, who owns this boat.
Eating a fish just like...
Huh?
Is that really how you eat the herring?
Huh?
40 miles from Amsterdam is the seaside resort of Schelvispekel. All right, so I can't pronounce it. And in World War II, the Dutch would shoot anyone who couldn't say it right because they were thought to be German spies. They could have just tested them with raw herring instead.
So you just take a big bite of it, huh? Does it come on maybe some rice with some soy sauce? Here we go.
There we go. Nice.
Top quality.
Yeah, okay. Herring is so big in the Netherlands, they say Amsterdam was built on herring bones. The Dutch eat it like we eat potato chips. They're the national snack. Now, you'd be crazy if you said potato chips won the American Revolution. But herring did save the Netherlands. Back in the 1400s, the Netherlands didn't have much going for it besides peat bogs until they started exporting herring across Europe. And it went so well, the Dutch were able to raise the seed money they needed to buy better boats that could sail to the far side of the world and bring back precious spices and start an economic empire.
You know, fish needs to swim twice, outside and inside.
You eat herring, you need not a doctor.
A herring a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah.
I'm an addict.
You're a herring addict?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know? First, you have to admit that you have a problem.
Fortunately for me, herring usually comes with a liquid chaser. Corn wine, which means corn brandy, is somewhere between gin and whiskey, a blend of juniper berry-infused liquor and a distilled beer called malt wine.
A herring party is not completed without corn wine.
A herring party?
A herring party.
What is a herring party exactly?
Every year when the first herring catch comes in, the country goes wild for a week, throwing high-class herring parties where men in suits and women in fancy hats elbow each other for the good stuff. So yeah, herring's kind of a thing here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To doing things the way you guys do. Raw herring, corn wine, and seagulls right on cue.
They smell the herring.
Wow. Beautiful. It's a nice drink. Corn wine is softer, more velvety because of the malted barley wine, but you still get all the juniper berries.
Corn wine is a distant ancestor of today's gin, but barrel aging gives it a flavor more like scotch.
It's good for the fish, though. I think it's strong to help chase the salt and the sliminess of the fish. Chases it right away. Are you a big corn wine fan, Joop?
Yeah.
How much do you drink?
2 glasses a day.
Every day?
Yes.
2 glasses a day. And it keeps you young and strong.
It's good for the blood.
And what do? We eat it and we throw it out there?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Seagull caught it right before it hit the water. Well, a herring party.
Yeah.
Hey, I've never had a herring party before.
With every sip of corn wine, the herring tastes a little less, herringy, I guess. However, I still don't mind sharing it.
Herrings here, get your herrings. We got herrings, we got fresh herring, we got smoked herring, we got red herrings, so those are like a good mystery. Oh, here they come.
Yeah, and
here come the boys.
yeah.
Ho! Get that. You missed it. To herring and corn wine. And
Okay.
to friends. Salud.
Salute.
If you ever find yourself on the run during a zombie apocalypse, you want to be prepared. I like to keep a checklist. So, security perimeter, check. 7-foot thick concrete walls, check. 105mm guns, double check. And in the basement, beer. Lots and lots of beer. But this is no ordinary brew. It just might be the most revolutionary thing to happen to grain since someone took a knife to a loaf of bread. Aged beer. Half an hour north of Amsterdam is Fort Spijkerboer, built before World War I to protect Amsterdam from invasion. Today, it's the world's first beer bank. And Felix Wilbrink, well, he's its J.P. Morgan.
Right now, if everything fails, I have about 6,000 bottles to last me for the rest of my life.
He's a food writer and lifelong beer enthusiast. Of course you age whiskey or wine, but after a year in the bottle, most beers will spoil or skunk. His idea had been brewing for about 10 years before Felix finally got the place up and running a couple of months ago.
It takes different beers. It doesn't take your ordinary lager. It has to be a dark beer, a black beer even maybe.
With a complexity of taste,
absolutely,
yes.
And much more, yes. A higher alcohol percentage, like your average beer would maybe be around 6%. This would be 8 or a little bit more.
We know plenty about the chemistry of aging wine, like how tannins mellow out by binding to sugar molecules. But aging beer is still new territory, and it is far from an exact science.
To be honest, we know 4 years will be very good. We know 5 years can be very good. We know that some beers tend to keel over at around 6 years. But we also know there are beers that are actually on their prime around 12 years. So we constantly monitor them and drink them and try them. It's a hard job. There's one brewer who says this is a lifetime beer. You can actually give it to your grandchildren.
But who wants to wait?
You can give the answer to that because you have to taste it, and then you know why you want to wait.
That's a big door.
7-foot thick concrete walls aren't just good for stopping zombie hordes. They keep the interior temperature a steady 57 degrees all year long, making it the perfect place to store beer.
Come in.
Wow. Wow, look at this.
The beer bank idea was born when Felix found some brewers drinking expired beer at a tasting and loving it.
Here we have the 2008 and we have the 2014.
Cork stored sideways, ID'd by year. What's routine for wine is a whole new world in beer. The bank is basically a co-op. Felix invited a select handful of Dutch and Belgian craft breweries to store their beers here. And they all have a say in who else is allowed in for quality control.
Oh, that just sounds good, doesn't it? Look at it coming to the top.
Yeah.
Naturally.
So it's alive.
Oh.
You take the glass.
And you take the old one.
That's your young beer. And that's your old beer. Take a smell of that. That's 2014. Already a fantastic beer. Now, try this. Suddenly, something has changed. Where does the plum come from? Where does the fruitiness come from?
Exactly right. It's very fruity.
It's as if you have a liquid fruitcake.
Where does that come from?
That's the question. But now, you take the
I'll
sip.
have to drink it. Will you hold
I'll take this for
please?
you, yes.
Wow. What is that? I can't even start to describe that.
The bitter hops have aged away, leaving something that tastes like caramel and berries. They say a beer can have up to 300 taste markers, and I swear, every one of them is in here.
There we have the story. This is it. This is why you keep beer.
And the idea's taken off. Felix already has a second vault with plans to expand even further. This could be the next big trend in craft brewing.
You're going to sign your name to this, and I'm going to pick a beer for you. And in 5 years' time, you have to promise to come back and drink that beer with the same zest and beauty as you're experiencing now. I'm going to give you the Duits and Lauret, which is top of the bill.
Really?
5 years? That's an eternity.
I'm gonna go now. Not because I want to, but because I have to. I love you. And I'll come back in 5 years. Oh, no. Uncle Felix will take care of you. I promise.
Can I? Thank you.
Oh,
We'll
how
take
can I
care
do
of
that
you,
speech
baby.
and not be able to... Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, bye now. Bye-bye.
Come, we're closing up.
Oh, silly, isn't it?
Of all the international trends the Dutch have kicked off, there's one that I am very, very grateful for. The bar as we know it. Until the Dutch stepped in, liquor in Europe was essentially medicine. Imagine that world for a second. If you wanted a cocktail, you'd have to go to the emergency room. My friend Michelle has taken me for a drink at Three Little Bottles, Amsterdam's oldest running bar.
Hey.
Hello. Hi.
Jack.
Johannes.
Johannes, nice to meet you.
There's a rumor Rembrandt himself was at the opening of Three Little Bottles in 1650, during the Dutch Golden Age. Not much has changed since.
Now, what is this? This is fantastic.
Those are the private barrels from families or companies. They hire a barrel.
So they can just come in here and drink?
That's why they're locked. They have their own key.
It's like a locker at a gym. That's got to be expensive, huh?
€2 a day.
That's all? Oh, I don't know which one. You got any openings?
These casks hold the specialty of the house and the national drink of the Netherlands, Jenever. While Michelangelo was busy painting the Sistine Chapel and Shakespeare was writing Romeo and Juliet, the Dutch were perfecting the art and business of distilling. After herring and spices, selling hooch was the next phase of the Dutch economic empire. Jenever became the first spirit ever mass-marketed. So, if you've ever been hungover after a night of Cuervo, well, you can thank the Dutch.
We have two types of Jenever, young and old.
What do you recommend?
To start with the young and then later on the old one.
Okay.
It's not a difference in age. The old Jenever is the way of production before 1900.
Oh, the recipe, the way they did it.
They use more malt wine in it than the young one.
Made from grain and flavored with juniper berries from an old medicinal recipe, Jenever was drunk for fun by Dutch folks as early as the 1400s. And by the 1600s, it was headed for all corners of the earth, on just about every Dutch trading ship there was. The British soldiers called it Dutch courage, and when they brought it home, they tweaked the recipe and shortened the name to gin.
We fill it up with a top on it.
Wow.
So you have to slurp first.
Wait a minute. It looks like it wants to fall over.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to breathe on it. So how do you drink it?
Well, you put your hands on your back.
Yeah?
Like this, like bow for the king. It's like paying honor to the drink.
Well, I've had less awkward sobriety tests, but a topped-off glass is an old Dutch custom. It was how bartenders showed they gave a full pour hundreds of years ago.
Wow. What does it taste like?
Malt wine.
Young Jenever, the newer recipe, has just a hint of added malt wine, up to 15%. So it tastes like gin with a dash of whiskey.
The old Jenever, it's more malt wine, so it's softer than the young one.
Well, let's try the old one. Let's try that one. Here we go. To the drink. It's softer, but more flavorful. I can really taste the malt.
With up to 50% malt wine, Old Jenever has a solid whiskey flavor, which might explain why Americans drank 5 times more Old Jenever than gin until Prohibition.
Ah, that's good. I like the old one better, I gotta say.
Old or new, Jenever usually comes with a beer bag.
This tradition we call kopstoot,
Yeah.
which means headbutt. You start with a big sip of your Jenever.
All right.
And then you take a beer as a refreshment. Perfect.
Oh, can I try to pour it? Okay. Listen, if I spill it, you can charge me for what I spill.
I will.
All right, here we go. Ready? How do we do this?
So you have to do it in one whop.
In one walk. I'm too careful, right? I just do it, right? Here we go. Woo, here we go.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, now look at that. Look at that. That's got the thing. All right, here we go. Cheers.
Very good.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to do the other thing. What are you picking it up for? You're supposed to be Dutch. Here we go. Oh, that's good. Proost.
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 History hasn't always been kind to Jenever. Prohibition dried up sales, and Nazi occupation almost finished the job for good. But today, it's coming back. Thanks to the oldest continuous distillery in the world, the House of Bowls. Of course, they've done some renovating since the grand opening in 1575. It looks a little like an amusement park, but it's more like an abusement park. Sorry, but they do have lots of coasters.
This is what we call the Hall of Taste. So here you can test your senses.
Manager Yuri Van Berkel knows his booze. He's got it. They distill over 50 different spirits here, from Jenever to triple sec, and far-out blends like yogurt and foam liqueurs. But Bowls' #1 mission is no gimmick. Winning back a Dutch original's rightful place behind the bar. And they're turning Jenever into the next cocktail phenomenon, training top-shelf bartenders who spread the gospel of Jenever to high-end bars around the world.
Wow, this is fancy.
This is our Bowls Bartending Academy.
How about a cocktail?
What I'm gonna make for you is a Martinez, which was actually the ancestor of the dry martini.
Ah yes, the Martinez, the drink that gave birth to the martini. It starts with Jenever, then sweet vermouth instead of dry, and bitters. The result is herbal, crisp, and not too sweet.
The cool flavor just falls, doesn't even run, it just falls down your throat. Kudos to you, Ruben. That is a beautiful cocktail.
Jenever is the perfect chameleon, with the best notes of whiskey and gin. It's ideal for everything from juleps to White Russians. But its comeback goes far beyond the classics. Their bartenders are winning competitions with new concoctions every year.
How come you're not drinking, by the way? You can't drink on the job?
Well, I'm done, so...
Yeah, he's done. Set him up. A cocktail. What do you like?
Surprise me.
Okay. How about a nice classical Army Navy? You can make one of those?
Why don't you make it?
Absolutely. Here we go. Here we go. Army Navy.
So the first thing we always do in this academy is put down a napkin for our guests. And we can work together and actually do that together.
Wow, do that again.
So as if you're throwing a Frisbee, just catch it with your hand and then bring it to your guests.
Here you are, sir.
Thank you. That's right.
The malty Jenever is the perfect complement to almond syrup. The ratio, 2 to 1. Add to that the juice of half a lime and shake.
Here you are, sir. Enjoy your Army Navy. You're gonna have a bartender who's gonna drink with you.
Oh, delicious.
May I try some?
Sure.
I don't mind saying that's pretty nice. Nicely done. Whoever made you that drink knows what he's doing. Here's to you guys.
Cheers.
Nice. Prost.
Cheers.
Last day in the Netherlands. You know, funny thing. In the poster country of excess, I haven't had one hangover. But I don't mind eating like it.
Wrapping up my time here in the Netherlands, I'd like to satisfy my sweet tooth. Kind of like a good dessert at the end of a meal.
I might not be hungover, but the time-honored Dutch hangover food sounds really good. Pancakes with booze-soaked fixins? You know, I've been smelling them ever since I got here, because they're on just about every corner. When the Beastie Boys were in the Netherlands, they liked them so much they put them in a rap. Probably the only time in the history of hip-hop someone rhymed panna-cokin with soft-spoken. If you want the best, it helps to know the right person.
Janneke!
Jack!
Hi!
So, Jack, are you hungry? Thirsty, maybe?
all of the above. You got something for both of those?
I got the perfect thing.
I'm told you're the one.
Janneke Vreugdenhil is a master chef and author of a dozen cookbooks on Dutch cuisine, with tempting titles like Comfort Food and Carnivoria.
I thought we'd make boerenjongens. You know boerenjongens?
I don't even know how to say it. Never mind know it.
It's raisins that have been soaked in brandy. Well, you might translate it into farmer's boys.
Whoever said apples were the forbidden fruit never met Janneke. Boerenjongens are what the Dutch put on pancakes instead of syrup.
The raisins will soak up this flavor of this brandy. The cinnamon will give it extra flavor.
Oh, fantastic.
They will become really big and plump and filled with booze.
Note to self, hang out with more chefs.
You want to have a taste?
I would love a taste. Oh, these spoons are awful small. Just take one raisin at a time?
Yeah. It's something you have to savor, you know?
Oh, that's fantastic.
It is a little bit like raisins in rum, isn't it?
It does. It'd be good on ice cream.
Yeah.
What about the pancake aspect of it?
Yeah, we're going to bake them too.
The Dutch didn't invent pancakes. People have been making them since the Stone Age. But they did bring them to colonial America. Trend-setting as usual. Pannenkoeken are less IHOP and more crepe, and are served sweet or savory. Like the best breakfast foods, they're served any time of day.
For the record, I'm doing this.
Fire a little.
I'm doing this one-handed while I drink. Believe it or not, probably helps me.
Hurry up, because it's burning.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Cheers. Little liquid courage. All right.
It's all in the pulse. What do you say, the pulse?
The wrist.
Oh, sorry. It's all in the wrist, you know?
Ready?
Yeah, you did it!
I broke it in half, but not so bad.
Not bad.
80% of the pancake lived.
For the Dutch, pancakes often mean it's a special occasion, like Christmas or a birthday.
Hey!
But Janneke's pancakes are always a special occasion.
Oh, Jack is coming with them. Jack!
Where are the pancakes, Jack?
Here they are. Perfect pancakes for everyone.
Straight, Jackie. Oh.
One Dutch pancake.
Oh, that smells so good.
Have as much as you want.
Perfect.
A little
Right
bit more
there.
liquor for you.
Oh, I won't say no to that. Look at this. You know, it's been such a wonderful trip to the Netherlands. Everybody was so nice and warm. And you guys really like to drink.
Oh, we like it.
Let's drink to that.
Let's drink to that.
Cheers.
Gezelligheid.
There it is again, that Dutch word for happiness. If they made a gezellig Kool-Aid, I'd drink it.